Hi, everyone. Ben Bennett here, Airbnb Superhost and investor, and somebody who personally manages Airbnb properties. I manage all my own properties in just a few minutes each week. And if you're wondering why I'm smiling, I've been listening to Airbnb's quarterly earnings call just now. And I'm smiling because everything that they're reporting trends with what I'm seeing. Essentially, this is their best year, best quarter, best year that they've ever had. And for me, being on Airbnb as a host, this is actually my best year. And it's really been fantastic. Now, I know there are some hosts out there who are struggling. And by the way, if you're one of them, throw a comment in the comments field and let me see if I can help you. But the reason I'm smiling too is there's been so much noise out there. That Shelby Church's video on Airbnb bust and other things like that. Watched a number of videos. Meet Kevin, for example, had a video a little while ago about how the Airbnb market's collapsing. And again, I smile just because I have not experienced that personally. What I've seen is that January was my best month ever. This month right now looks like it's going to be even better than that. And Airbnb's earnings really confirm that. I want to just share this with you just briefly. I'll throw these links in the description. But a couple of things that they mentioned. So their earnings per share, investors were expecting 27 cents per share. Airbnb came in almost double that at 48 cents per share. That's pretty amazing. The other thing that I think is amazing is just in the last year, they added 900,000 more listings. And so again, if you think that you're maybe too late to get involved in Airbnb, you're not at all. I just added actually the last listing that I just added, I added in December, and it's doing really, really well. Now, this is Airbnb's shareholder letter. Again, I think there's some really interesting, interesting statistics here. If you look at just how they did, year over year, their revenue grew 40% year over year. I've already mentioned the 900,000 more listings, which is pretty impressive. So here's another interesting thing, though. People were saying that, that all sounds good, but boy, it's really tailing off in the last 3 months. Whatever Airbnb said is they said their fourth quarter, right? So that's October, November, December of 2022, was their highest ever fourth quarter, right? So their revenue was 24% above the same period last year. That's pretty incredible, right? It was also their most profitable, sort of quarter. And so again, I think really, really interesting. But wait, there's more. It does get better, right? What they're saying as well is they're saying demand actually stayed really strong. And they said nights and experience booked increased 20% in Q4 compared to a year ago. So, are we seeing some macroeconomic slowdown? Sure. But it's not showing up in Airbnb. And again, I realize this is, we're painting with a broad brush here, at a macro level. But again, just talking on my property specifically, I'm seeing the same thing. Now, I don't want to be insensitive because I know there are some hosts out there who are struggling. But what I would share with you is that there are ways to sort of address that and fix some of those listings. Now, you might be looking at this, say, gosh, this all just sounds so good, kind of too good to be true. Where is the downside? I do think, and I was looking for the same thing. I was looking for, what's the downside? Because it's just, it's just really positive across the board. And again, I'll provide a link to this in the description. The one maybe downside is they talk about average daily rate. So the average daily rate in Q4 2022 was $153, and that's a decrease of 1% from that same period in 2021, right? So prices have gone down a little bit. Now it's interesting. What they say is the reason that happened is because customers are shifting more, back to urban listings. Urban listings have a lower average daily rate than rural listings, things like that. And by the way, that might be true. I don't have any reason not to believe that. But what I'll also tell you is that I think hosts certainly want to keep their places full, and they've probably done some discounting, and that that wouldn't be surprising. So anyway, for all of you who are wondering, is now a good time to get involved in Airbnb? I would say yes, absolutely. I don't do this full time. This is a side hustle. I have a full-time job, but I manage multiple properties. I have a couple in-state where I live. I have a couple out-of-state where I live. And they do really well, and they literally take me minutes a week to manage. I don't have a property manager or anything like that. And the reality is you can do the same thing. The best thing I would tell you is keep doing what you're doing. Stay here on YouTube. That's how I learned. And I would say get involved, but do your homework. The guests who are struggling, or hosts, I'm sorry, who are struggling, and I talk to a number of hosts who are struggling all the time because they reach out for help. The hosts who are struggling, I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, they've missed something in the setup of their property, or the setup of their listing, or something like that. Sometimes it's easy to fix, sometimes it's hard to fix, but I would tell you 90% of the work is really upfront. So what you're doing right here by learning and studying and understanding, it's the best thing you could do. I've got a number of other videos that are coming to this channel. So I just encourage you to like and subscribe and share if you see value here. If you have questions or comments or thoughts, I'd love to look at those. I look at every single one and I answer every single one. If you haven't signed up yet to be a host, I have a link in the description. You'll get a small bonus the first time that you host people, and I'll be assigned as your Airbnb ambassador and can help you along your way on your journey. And lastly, if you want to check out my listings or follow my journey, follow us on Instagram. I've got a link in the description below. Until next time, I'll just encourage you to stick with me when it comes to Airbnb, and we'll help you get from where you're at today to really realizing sort of your best results ever. Take care.